Hi everybody, I'm standing in Hyannis on Main Street in front of a sign, and it's a sign for the Big Brothers Big Sisters. I am so excited to be here. So come along, let's have another Cape conversation. Hi everybody. Oh, I am so excited because I'm sitting in an office and not out in the weather. This is so wonderful. I came to Hyannis today to talk about a very special program with very special people. And one of the people is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters, or Big Sisters Big Brothers. I think it's the other way around, but I think I like the girls first. And his name is J.R. Mell.
Hi.
J.R., how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having us on today.
Well, I'm so excited to be here. And the reason why I'm so excited is because you're doing all kinds of new programs. Now, how long have you been in the job?
So I've been in this position for exactly 2 years as of yesterday.
Wow, you're a veteran.
I am a veteran at this point. Absolutely.
And where'd you come from?
So I came from the Boys and Girls Club previous to this position. I'd been there for about 11 years.
Oh, Ruthie Provost.
Yes, with
Everybody
Ruthie.
knows Ruthie.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and I was the assistant. Oh, I'd been many things there.
Yeah.
But I started there a long time ago. Built a lot of the programming, and youth causes are near and dear to my heart. So when this position came available, I threw my hat in and 8 interviews, and 2 years later, here I am talking to you.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Even after 2 years.
Even after 2
You
years.
still want to keep the job, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a good one,
I
huh?
plan on being here for some time.
Good. So now these offices weren't always here.
No, that's very true. For many years, we were over in Centerville. We were across from where everyone probably remembers us on 28.
Oh, like a house.
In a house, yes.
Yeah.
We were in a small little house. About 5 years ago, we undertook a really strategic growth initiative. We set about to double the number of kids that we served over the next 5 years. It is no small undertaking.
No.
I can attest to that from our service territory throughout the Cape and Martha's Vineyard. But with that came the need for us to build up our infrastructure, namely, we can't serve more kids without having more staff.
Sure.
We outgrew the location where we were, and we needed to bring more of a professional element to what we're doing. So we're fortunate enough that our board really took what we needed to do to heart for the kids of the Cape and Martha's Vineyard, and that first step was a huge investment in 1, new staff, and 2, more space. So we're happy to be here on Main Street, Hyannis,
That's great.
which is pretty central to the Cape, to serve every town that's here as well as the Vineyard.
And when you want to go out to dinner, you can just go next door to the Brazilian Grill.
Yeah, when I started, people asked me what's your biggest challenge, and I said not eating at the Brazilian Grill every single day. And
that would be mine.
That was honest. So,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to see the expansion. It certainly is. So, how many kids do you service?
Right. So currently, this fiscal year, our goal is to serve 350 kids in an active match. So that's being matched actively with a big brother or big sister in the community. We are currently...
Is that just here on the Cape?
That's the Cape and the Vineyard.
And the Vineyard,
And the Vineyard,
okay.
yes. So we're currently on track to meet or exceed that goal, which is really exciting. We'll be making 120 new matches by June 30th of this year, which is a very aggressive growth plan, but the need is huge that's out there. So we're on track to do that. I couldn't be more proud of our team who's working every day with the passion and commitment to make that happen.
So how long is the commitment for somebody? So I'm sitting at home in the middle of the night watching Cape Conversations because I can't sleep.
Good for you.
Yeah. And I want to do this.
Yeah.
How do I go about it?
So what I'd suggest that you do is visit our website, capebigs.org. That's kind of our starting tool. Thank you. That's kind of our starting tool. It gives you a high-level view of the program, but what it also allows you to do is to schedule a 10-minute call with someone from our agency to really get your questions answered, understand the commitment. We do ask for a 1-year commitment from all of our volunteers as well as our families. Our research shows that if we are able to match a kid for that 1-year length with a volunteer, they're going to see positive outcomes from that. So we do ask for the 1-year commitment. Obviously, safety is our number one thing that we have an eye on with all of our matches, because we're taking
Right.
people from the community, we're sending them out with kids to the community that they don't know from outside of our program.
Right. So you have to really be careful on both sides.
Yes, absolutely. So we do obviously national background checks as well as state background checks, but we also do a behavioral-based interview. So we'll ask for all of our volunteers who have made it through the 10-minute phone call, understand the commitment to come in and meet with a member of our enrollment team.
I see.
They'll go through the interview, they'll get to know you as a person, and they'll get to know your likes, your hobbies, your interests, because we want to make sure that when you're starting this friendship, we're going to match you up with a child with similar interests, so you have something to base that friendship off of to start.
Oh, that's great.
It is.
So these kids, are they at risk?
So I would say, having worked in the non-profit world for my whole career so far, that we
Lucky you.
thank you, that we truly serve the most at-risk population on the Cape and Islands. If you were to look at our statistics, 92% of the kids who are in our program come from a single-parent household. They come from a household that would qualify for free or reduced lunch. So there's some need there. But we also have kids who
Are they living in motels, or
they're not. No,
No.
because we ask for a 1-year commitment, we can't successfully serve a transient population.
I gotcha.
Because it's such an expense for us to recruit, train, and screen our volunteers that we want to make sure that we can set them up with a child who is going to be somewhere for at least a year.
Out of curiosity, is there anything for transient populations?
So generally for a transient population through our program, they wouldn't find success in it.
I see.
And our research shows that if we match a child for under 1 year, we're actually doing harm to that child, and that's
Yeah.
not what we're in the
Right,
business
because
of.
you're giving them something and then
Right.
taking it away.
Right, and so it may on the surface seem almost mean that we aren't able to serve
well,
the homeless
that makes sense.
population or a transient population, but we don't want to set something up that won't be successful for that child. So that's one of the barriers. DCF does a lot. Child and Family Services has a lot of resources that they can serve that population. So we'll generally refer out to those agencies.
So you need to get 300. Your goal is 350. Now, does it go up after that?
It
or
will.
Is that the max?
It will. No.
Or do you have a max?
We do. If there's no real max, if resources were unlimited and volunteers
Yeah.
fell from the sky,
Right.
we'd be able to serve about 4,200 kids throughout the Cape and Martha's Vineyard.
So is that how many kids that are in need?
That's how many kids would find success in our program. So there's 5 real indicators of if a child's going to really succeed in our program. When you take a look at the Cape population and the demographics and narrow everything down, there's about 4,200 kids.
Wow. And what
throughout-
are those? Do you know off the top of your
I
head?
do. They're really
just
5
curious.
things. Yeah, no, absolutely. So kids who find the most success in our program are generally kids who've experienced some type of loss in their life. They come from an under-resourced household. They're performing poorly academically. They also have poor peer-to-peer relationships and probably have some challenges with their parental relationships as well. So we're not saying that you need to meet all 5 of those to be in our program. Those are just
Right.
kids who are going to be the most successful and find the most success and have the most impact from our program.
And do the parents like this?
I have heard from every parent that we have whose child is finding success in this program. So we're currently serving over 325 kids right now this
Wow.
year.
It's amazing. 4,200 is mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing.
When you think about the demographics
Yeah.
of the Cape,
Absolutely.
with all the old people that are
Right.
here, including myself. But you know, and then I know a lot of people with kids,
Yeah.
but they're solid households. At least by appearance, they're solid households. So it's quite amazing that 4,200.
Yeah,
would be
and
in
so when you
need.
think of us spanning from the tip of the Cape in Provincetown all the way to the bridge, and then you add in Martha's Vineyard to it as well,
Right.
that's a large number. And we also know that we're in a declining young population on the Cape,
Right.
as well as Martha's Vineyard. So that makes it a little bit more challenging for us in terms of recruiting volunteers, because the Cape over the last 10 years has lost 27% of that young professional demographic.
Yes, I know.
And not that we don't have some phenomenal age 50 plus volunteers. In fact, 55% of our volunteers are age 50 plus. And our oldest volunteer, as you had mentioned, our oldest volunteer is actually in her early 90s right now. So
You're kidding me.
I'm not. She was
And
matched.
is she successful?
She is. She was matched in her late 80s. And I actually run into her. She's from Wellesley. And I run into her.
Well, there you go. She's in the witness protection program. Everybody who lives beyond Brewster is in the witness protection program. I do believe that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to work that into my recruitment somehow, our recruitment
Are
strategy.
you in the witness protection program?
But I ran into her with my little brother at the sandwich car show this summer.
Oh, no kidding.
And so I see her more places than I see a lot of our other
Is that right?
volunteers. But
And does she have the same person, or
Yep.
is she? And how old is that person now?
so she's 12 now.
Yeah.
So as
And she must just love her to pieces.
she does, yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, so their match is successful, and one of the things that I hear a lot is the older demographic on the Cape thinks that Big Brothers Big Sisters is for the younger crowd, and our numbers just truly speak to it not being so.
Right.
We also find with a lot of our older volunteers that there's a much more stable platform that they're in their life, because they've either retired to the Cape, they know they don't have, their kids are grown, they have a lot more time to do things. So I would definitely welcome anyone who wants to get more information to talk to us.
Is there a cost to this?
There's no cost. It's a completely free program. We do the majority of our fundraising from individuals, which I'm sure Barbara will talk a little bit more about.
And Barbara would be your development person.
Yes, so Barbara Cotton recently started with us. We're excited to have her on board.
We'll get into that.
I'm sure.
So there is no cost. Is there a cost to? Is there a cost to the person being the big sister or big brother?
So there isn't a cost to them.
Unless they want to spend money.
Right. So what we try to focus on with all of our matches is what we call free to low cost activities. Because what we want to do is we want to build that friendship and that mentoring relationship, not on what they're able to do, but on the time that they spend together.
I see.
Because maybe you're a person of means and you're able to provide all this awesome stuff for this child, but what you're actually doing is you're setting your friendship up to not be a friendship, and you're setting that friendship up that when the little brother or little sister goes home, they're almost resentful of their parent or guardian who's not able to do that for them.
Sure.
So we really try to focus it on free to low to no cost activities.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned in the future?
For the next, we like to do things in chunks of 5 years,
Yeah.
which seems a little overwhelming at first, but we.
So you have a plan, a strategic
We do.
plan?
Yeah, we just actually launched. Or I shouldn't say launch. We laid the groundwork for the next 5 years at our last Leadership Council meeting, which is our board for the Cape as well as Martha's
And how
Vineyard.
many are on that?
So currently there are 8 active Leadership Council members that are Cape-based, and we have 4 active that are Vineyard-based.
And do they have little sisters or little brothers?
They're a mix. So we have some on our board who are alumni bigs. We have some that are alumni littles.
Really?
And we do.
Oh, that's great.
We have some who are just really community-minded and very, very philanthropic and believe in what we do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I gave you the name of somebody who might be a really good catch.
Well,
I'm
that's
just telling you.
great. Thank you. We
I won't
appreciate
say
that.
it, though.
All right.
Because she will shoot me dead.
Okay.
There's
Fair
no
enough.
doubt
Fair
about
enough.
it. So, bottom line is, you're looking for more people.
Yep.
It doesn't matter your age,
Does not matter.
obviously.
Well, I should say you have to be at least 18.
Okay.
So there is a
Right.
minimum
Okay.
age
Minimum
requirement.
age.
Yes.
But you could be 90-something if
You could.
you're starting
Yeah,
your 80s
as long
or
as
whatever.
you're still active, you want to make a difference in the life of a child, and you're able to get around the Cape and Islands to pick up your little brother or little sister,
Right.
we'd love to talk to you.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. And you go from Provincetown to Bourne
To Bourne, and we serve Martha's Vineyard as well.
and Martha's Vineyard as well. That is fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
Well,
We're
thank
going
you
to
so much.
change out and bring
right.
in that person, Barbara Cotton.
All right.
And I want to thank you. What a good thing you're doing.
Well, thank you.
What a really good thing.
It's a there's a huge need on the Cape. It's a very impactful program, and on the volunteer side, having been a big myself, I can attest to it. I hear from my volunteers more and more that they almost feel like they've gotten more out of the program than their child, than the little brother or little sister has. Even though our research proves otherwise, but it is a very rewarding experience. I would
That's great.
I would make that known.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
So I am now sitting with the Regional Development Director. Oh my God, Barbara Cotton, whom I have known for how long, Barbara?
Too long.
Too long. We know each other's everything, I think.
Yes, we
Don't
do.
We? Yes, we do. So how are you?
I'm amazing.
Is that right? That's
am.
great.
Thank
So
you.
now you used to be, we always talk about the used to be's first. You used to be the Executive Director, correct?
I was, yes.
Of the Cape Cod Children's Museum.
Yes, for
And
10
that's
years.
where I met you. I think originally I met you there.
Doing special events together.
Doing special events together, Mashpee Commons and then at South Cape Village, I believe. So quite amazing. And now here you are doing this.
I know.
Well, so your background certainly lends yourself to this. Because
It
that's all
does.
you did at the Children's Museum. You always had to
Well,
get
I
money.
actually was a teacher in my previous life.
No way. Now, see,
So-
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so for
Oh
10
my
years
gosh.
I was a teacher. I actually taught in the inner city in the Bronx for 2 years.
Wow.
An
You're brave.
absolutely transformative experience that that I kind of have found.
Is that
my
where
way
you met
back
John?
to.
Your
No,
husband?
no, John took me out of the city.
Oh.
No, but I think wanting to be a mentor for kids has always been something that's innate. So this was
Yeah.
a natural progression.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what is your role here?
Fundraising,
Fundraising, money,
and events.
and events. And
My two favorite things.
I know, well, you're great at events. I know that for a fact. So what are you doing? What do you need to raise? I mean, do you have a goal that you have to hit? Is it public? Is it not public? What? Tell me about your job.
So, and I've only been in my role for about 2 months.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So
you know it all
it's,
then.
it's always about the money.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it's about getting people who are passionately interested in giving to sustain us. I mean, we really do need resources. I know JR spoke a little bit about that unlimited resource, and we could
Right.
serve over 4,200 kids across
It's
the Cape.
amazing.
It is amazing. I think the need is high, and people who are in our community know that, and they want to help. And so, if you don't have the time, absolutely, we could use the money. And people will ask a lot of times, if your mentors and are volunteers, then what does the money go towards? And I think that that's a really important
Oh,
question
sure it is.
to
Of
be
course
able
it is.
to
In this
answer.
day and age.
Absolutely. And so because of the high quality of our program and the one-to-one matches, all of the money goes into really recruitment
Really?
and sustaining those matches. So you had asked earlier, what would it take if you were to become a big? There's hand-holding through that entire match in that process. So that 1-year commitment, there's communication between the little's parent and our bigs. And so that helps to support the relationship so that we do have successful matches well over a year.
So so actually what you do is also provide some sort of similar to counseling, I would imagine. Train people that deal with this.
Absolutely, because there are challenges that they're going to face, and we want to be able to support that.
And so now you've got this, you've been here 2 whole months. You're all done, right? You've raised all your money for this year. No, we're at the beginning of the year, so you haven't.
Well, no, we're technically halfway through our fiscal
Oh,
year.
okay,
It's
all
one
right.
of those Cape nonprofits that
Yeah,
have the odd fiscal year.
right, right. So what do you got planned? What are you doing? How are you reaching out to people? How are you telling your story?
So we're still in the middle of our annual appeal, and we're always accepting donations, gratefully accepting donations. And then we have events that we run. So I'm in the middle of planning our next golf tournament, which is June 4th in Pocasset, looking for golfers, looking for sponsors, so I'll actively be involved in that. And then with EJ Jackstimer, we run a Big 3 tournament, and this year is our signature 5-year anniversary
Oh, wow.
for this huge fundraiser that we do. So if you're big into fishing, this is the event to be at.
Wonderful.
And so that'll be a big portion.
And
of what
where
we need
where's
to
it
raise
held?
this year. It's at Witchmere.
And how What's the date?
July 13th, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Oh my God, lucky day.
It is a lucky day.
It is
It's
a
going
lucky
to be
day.
a fantastic year. Yes.
That's wonderful. And what else are you doing? Anything else?
So we also do a Blooming Bids fundraiser on Martha's Vineyard, and we'll do another golf tournament later on in this year. And so as much as the events are fun, and they're an important part of us connecting with donors, it's really about reaching a passionate audience that wants to sustain the organization and continue to be involved.
And you probably have littles, that's what you call them, right?
call them littles, yes.
Right, who've grown up now and who've become successes. And do they give back?
They absolutely do. And in fact, one of the reasons that I was compelled to join this organization is because of my own personal relationship with a big and a little. So when John and I had first met, his brother-in-law had a little that
no
had just come
kidding.
into his life. And unusual circumstances, it doesn't always transpire this way, but in the process, this particular little lost his mom, and he ended up being adopted by my brother-in-law.
No way.
Absolutely. So he ended
my
up
gosh.
marrying the girl next door, literally across the street, I should say. They have 3 beautiful children, and he's very successful. They both are. And so I've seen the transformative relationship, both from my brother-in-law's perspective, being the big
Right.
and taking on that role, and really inviting him into the family, and how that has changed his life and the outcomes.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's a very compelling story.
Very powerful.
Yeah,
Very powerful.
it is. So you have to get the word out too, right? To tell everybody. So we're doing this, that's good. But how else are you doing that? What else do you do to raise money? Do you do phone calling? Do you do robocalls? What do you do?
No robocalls.
No robocalls. Okay,
And,
thank
and you
you,
know
Lord.
what? Our best donors are already in our database. They're the people who are involved.
Yeah.
And so no one is ever more excited than our donors to hear about the powerful impacts. And so the
Sure.
story that I just shared with you is one that we share with our donors.
Oh,
they
that's
want to
wonderful.
know that what they're giving makes an impact, and it really does. I think in this day and age especially, and when we can talk about the opiate crisis, people
Sure.
are profoundly impacted by that, and I think sometimes feel powerless. How can I help? What can I do? What more powerful volunteering opportunity than to engage with the life of a child and really have an impact? That's what I would invite people to do, is to get involved.
And again, are you telling that story, your story out, that you're putting your story out there so that will
And not even so much my story, but the stories of our bigs and littles.
That's what I'm
They're
saying, yeah.
invited to our events, and and they share their story, and that's really transformative in a crowd.
Ooh, you know, it'd be really powerful. See, I'm sitting here thinking about this. It'd be really powerful if you could get some of your bigs and your littles that are grown up, or maybe almost grown up, and have them on camera talking about it. Maybe you've already done it, but
We have
saying
them at our
something.
events. We have a special spotlight when we do our Fund and Aid.
Oh,
because
wonderful.
nobody can speak to the impact more profoundly, I
Right.
think, than our
Right.
bigs and littles.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's terrific. So my dear, since we've known each other for so long, are you having fun?
I am.
A good
I am.
time?
You know what? I've been involved in the community for forever.
Forever.
And Mashpee is my hometown.
Right.
The Cape has been my home for 19 years.
Right.
I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Working in the community, helping the community, making it a little bit better for everybody.
That's
every
excellent.
day at a time. Yeah, I feel
Great.
fulfilled.
So I guess maybe you ought to tell us, if I want to give you money, how do I do that?
Well, you want to write a check to Big Brother, Big Sisters of Cape Cod and the Islands.
Cape Cod
and
and the
you want to send it
Islands.
to me here in Hyannis.
All right, excellent. Well, we'll make sure that's, as you said that's going to go across the bottom of this, so everybody knows how they can write a check. And no check is too small, no check is too big.
No check is too small. No check is, well, it can be as big as they want. You know what?
There's never. Well,
What's
people
another
say,
zero,
gee,
really?
it's all about those zeros.
Absolutely,
I've
but it
worked at a
does. It
lot of
makes
nonprofits.
an absolute huge impact.
Oh, that's
And it
wonderful.
helps us to be able to meet that goal.
And is there anything else we should know about all this that you can think of off the top of your head? Like, is there anything more
I would
compelling
invite
than
anybody who's thought about getting out there to do it. There's a 5-second rule. You can talk yourself out of anything in 5 seconds. But
Right.
if you're thinking as you're watching this, I think I might want to do it, pick up the phone and give us a call, or go right to the website and take a look. It's
Right.
10 minutes of your time.
And what's that
it
website
could be
again?
a lifetime of change.
What's
It's www.capecodbigs.
Cape Cod Bigs?
.org, yes.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, thank you, madam.
Thank you, Melinda.
I
It's been an
appreciate
absolute
it.
pleasure.
It's
And thank
always
you
a
for
pleasure.
inviting us for National
Oh.
Mentoring Month. This is amazing.
Well, you know what's amazing to me is there are all these organizations on the Cape that do a lot of things, and some of them get a lot of attention. And then there are others that don't get enough attention. And to me, this has always been one that as I said to JR, I felt like it was a homespun operation.
Low under the radar.
Under the radar. You shouldn't be under the radar. This is a very important thing, and we have so many issues, and as you mentioned, the opioid crisis, we're not any different than anywhere else in America. So if somebody can reach out and touch one child, just one child.
It reminds me of that starfish analogy. It makes
Yeah.
a difference to this one. It makes a difference. It does.
It does.
Very
It really
powerful.
does. And you come from a background of not only teaching, but also from the Cape Cod Children's Museum. So you also know the impact of a program like this has
Absolutely.
on kids and where they end up going, maybe, you
That
know?
quality time spent is
Right.
It's immeasurable.
Yeah. And it's not always about the money.
No.
But
That's
it is
nice
about
that it is.
but it is about the money because they need money.
It is. Don't stop. Write a check today.
I love it. Thank you, madam, so much.
you, Melinda.
All righty. Wow, wasn't it great to hear all about Big Brothers and Big Sisters? To think there are 4,200 kids on the Cape that could use their services, and they're now actually servicing 350. That's really good, but they need help, and I hope you sign up and help them, both volunteering and maybe sending a little cash their way. Let's help the kids of Cape Cod. So thank you so much for joining me today on another Cape Conversation.